The brand new Urban Decay Stay Naked Concealer. I am not only going to be doing a full review, first impression, and wear test on the new Stay Naked Concealer, but I am going to be comparing it to the old cult favorite, the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. Try both at the same time, compare their claims and how they live up to their claims, etc. So if you're interested in seeing my review of the new Stay Naked Concealer compared to the old Naked Skin Concealer from Urban Decay, then just keep on watching. So if you watch a lot of my product review videos, you would know that I like to get into the product claims and the statistics, how much is included in each product, pricing, reviews, etc. But before I even do that, I have a few things that I want to preface. So I want to preface my skin type for those of you watching. I have very dry, dehydrated skin, and I also have very sensitive, acne-prone skin. As you can tell, as bad as it is for me to have breakouts, as much as I hate it, it really does help with product reviews because I can see how well a product covers, especially something like a concealer. And then the other thing that I did want to preface for this video was the wear time portion. So unfortunately, I did receive these products on Monday afternoon, and it is currently Monday night. I work full-time all week, and I won't have time to film a review until Friday if I wait until when I'm not working. So I figured I would do a wear test after work and just stay up as late as I possibly can to test out the concealers for you guys. So it is currently 7 p.m. on the dot as I'm filming this, so hopefully I can keep these on for like 4 or 5 hours, stay up till like 11 or midnight. So the first thing that I want to talk about is packaging and pricing and product amount. So comparing them side by side on the site on Urban Decay and side by side in the packaging, I picked up the Stay Naked in 10NN, which is the Ultra Fair Neutral, and then I picked up the Naked Skin Concealer in Fair Neutral, so both the lightest neutrals. The new Stay Naked Concealer is offered in 25 shades, whereas the original Naked Skin Concealer is offered in 14 shades. Both concealers retail for exactly $36 on the Urban Decay website, and the new Stay Naked Concealer comes with 0.35 ounces of product. I assume that is fluid ounces. Then the original Naked Skin Concealer here contains 0.16 fluid ounces. So in store, if you're shopping, you might assume that they contain a very similar amount, but the new Stay Naked actually does have almost double the amount that the Naked Skin Concealer has. So right off the bat, you are way better off purchasing the newer concealer than the Naked Skin Concealer. Now I want to get into product claims and a little more product information. So we are going to start out with the new Stay Naked Correcting Concealer, and this claims to be a 24-hour weightless complete coverage. So right off the bat, you are expecting it to be very long lasting, very high coverage, and lightweight feeling on the skin. That is all said in the name. There's a good amount of light shades, medium, and then dark shades, so that's really awesome. From what I can tell, there seems to be like a row and a half of each in their display section, so that's awesome. Real Skin Matte Concealer has 25% more pigment and full coverage. I assume that that would be compared to their older Naked Concealer, which I picked up. And so far, just quickly looking at the reviews on the Urban Decay site, there are 23 reviews for the new Stay Naked Concealer. 21 of those are 5-star reviews, and 2 of those are 4-star reviews. So that is really good for their first little bit of reviews. And then in comparison, let's look at the statistics for the older Naked Skin Concealer. Shade range for this is definitely not as good. There seems to be a decent amount of darker shades, but definitely more medium shades, I would say. And then there's only like 2 real light shades. And on their site, there is 831 reviews of this concealer, with an overall average of 4.7 stars. So that's pretty good. Product description describes it as a weightless complete coverage concealer. So again, you're getting full coverage with this. Gives you buildable even coverage with a luminous demi matte finish. So the Stay Naked claims to be a matte skin-like finish, whereas the Naked Skin is a luminous demi-matte finish, which is typically what I would prefer. For complete coverage, just keep building. No matter how much you apply, it always blends beautifully and never settles into fine lines. So I'm going to quickly go off camera. I am going to put on my primer and my foundation. I picked the 2 from my collection that I use the most often and I am the most comfortable with, so I'll go go in with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. This is what I always use to test out new foundations. And then for foundation, I'm going to go in with the HD Skin Perfect Kokie foundation. This has been my absolute favorite foundation lately, and I'm very comfortable with it. So I'm going to go off camera quickly and apply these, and then we will come back to test out the concealers and really break down what I find, and then we will do our wear test. So I'll be back in 1 second. I went in with a super minimal amount of foundation, as sheer as I possibly could get it, with still getting a little bit of a base for the concealer, because I really want to see how well the concealer covers these spots. So I've decided that because the Stay Naked claims to be the most full coverage, right away, high impact concealing pigment, I'm going to do this concealer on the left side of my face, because as we can tell, that is where I have the most breakouts. And then I'm going to go in with the original Naked Skin on the right side of my face, where I have still some pigmentation from acne scarring, but a little less heavy concealing. We are going to start off with the Stay Naked Correcting Concealer. Let's see how all these spots conceal. Now I'm going to go ahead and blend that portion out with my Real Techniques Beauty Sponge, which is also what I blended out my foundation with. I think it did a pretty good job of covering those. It definitely lightened my complexion. You can tell I'm much lighter on this side than I am on this side. I'm going to wait to do my under eye until the last possible second, where I can go in and set it with powder. So I'm just going to flip over to the Naked Skin and conceal any breakouts on this side. This one seems a little bit thinner, but not incredibly thin. I've definitely tried thinner concealers. Definitely a little bit darker and more warm toned. It's interesting. I'm almost feeling as if this side right off the bat looks more matte. You can't really tell that on camera, but in person this side just looks a bit matte, and this is the one that claims to be more luminous. To give it the best fighting chance, I'm going to apply them under the eye separately and then set them right after, because that is how I find my concealer typically looks best. And I will be setting the under eye area with the Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder in Translucent. So I'm going to start again with the Stay Naked concealer, the new one. Ooh, that is definitely full coverage. And setting it, and go ahead in with the Naked Skin, do the same thing. Ooh, that's looking really dry on my eyelid. Wow. What in the world? I use my normal foundation, I use my normal primer, wet my beauty sponge, it's damp, I exfoliated and washed my face before this. Do you see how it's like really thick and opaque right there, and it's sticking? Just like dry skin. It looks so bad. This under eye still is a little dry in here, but it doesn't look that bad compared to this side. I don't even know what to do. I don't really want to set this under eye with powder. I mean, I guess we have nothing to lose, so I'll try going in with a little bit more of the Naked Skin. So far this one seems to be more drying for me, which is so strange. So that looks a little bit better, but it still definitely is balling up in those areas and not looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and set it with the Coty Airspun, just because I'm doing that to keep it consistent with the other side. I guess we will leave that as is and go ahead and set my whole face with powder, which is what I always do. So this is the MAC Studio Fix NC15, just pressing that into the unpowdered portions of my face to set it in. I just went in with the Essence Make Me a Brow to add a little bit to my brows, and I added the Dior Lip Glow in 001 to my lips. This is like my go-to look for work. Been looking at my skin in the viewfinder, and I've been looking at my skin. I have this big mirror right here in front of me, and I've come to the conclusion that I definitely prefer my left side of my face, which is where I use the Stay Naked, and I really don't like the side of my face where I use the Naked Skin. I don't like the smell of this. I don't like that you get half the amount of product for the same price, and I think it looks really drying on my eyes and the rest of my face. So I'm not a fan of this one so far. And then the Stay Naked, I'm honestly not blown away. I think the coverage is really, really nice. It looks pretty matte, demi-matte, like not super, super matte like the Rihanna Fenty one. So after all of that is said and done, it is now 7:50, so we will call it 8 o'clock. So we will see how it wears. We will see if either side creases really badly, if it stays a little bit dry, or if my oils come through a tiny bit and make it look a little more dewy and healthy. But so far at this point, I definitely do not like the Naked Skin, and I definitely prefer the new Stay Naked concealer, but I'm not yet in love with it. I'm not super convinced that it's better than some of my other concealers. I love my Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and I've been loving the new CoverGirl True Blend concealer. Those are my two favorites at the moment. So far neither of them is better than that, but this is very full coverage. So I just wanted to hop on and check in before I go to bed because I haven't yet. It is currently 11:18. This is honestly as late as I feel like I can stay up. I honestly don't feel like the concealer is really looking any different, so I don't think there's a point in forcing myself to stay up like another hour or so. I've been looking at it in the mirror, I've been looking at it on my phone, I've been looking at it through my camera lens. I honestly think it looks the same, if not a little bit better than it did when I first applied it, just because it's settled in a little bit and it doesn't look as dry. But as I said in the beginning of this video, I'm very dry, dehydrated skin, so there's not a lot of oil coming through, so it really isn't gonna look super different throughout a wear test. If it was gonna separate, I feel like it would have done that already within the 4 or so hours that I've had it on, almost like 4.5 hours. I have like a super zoom lens mirror here, and I've definitely seen my under eyes looking worse than the left side does. I've seen it looking a lot worse with some concealers. So I actually really do like the new Stay Naked. I think it did a really nice job of covering my breakouts, and then I'm looking pretty nice and smooth in here. So I'm really impressed with this one so far. I think I was being a little too hard on it at first because I was very thrown off by just the dryness in general. I will keep using this, and I do think it is really nice. It doesn't crease, it's high coverage, and if it does seem to last a long time so far, so that's really, really nice. And then the Naked Skin, my hopes for this were definitely very high because I had heard a lot about it and I hadn't heard anything about the Stay Naked. It doesn't look bad now that it's settled in a little bit, but it just was very drying and not as weightless and seamless as I thought it was going to be and it was advertised to be. So those are my final thoughts. Comparing the two, I actually think that the Stay Naked is a better deal. I think it performs better. So that is my final thoughts. I'm gonna wash this